in September of 1986, bro, we get the Cro-Mags, Age of Quarrel. My goodness, it's driving me nuts, dude. That word is driving me nuts. It's okay though. But anyways, this is the debut studio record for the Cro-Mags, New York hardcore band.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so this is what I'll say about this, like right off the bat. I grew up a punk kid, like a punk rocker. I didn't get into hardcore until I was like probably close to 20, like 19, 20 years old, because I just ran into some old friends who were like used to be punk rockers, still kind of were, but they got into hardcore and they were going that direction and they were in bands. And so when I first heard the Cro-Mags stuff, I was like a little older already. I wasn't like a young high school kid or anything. And so I liked it. I bought it. I listened to it a lot. I never really learned a lot about the history of the band. It's just a very common theme within my life about music that I enjoy and love. But after a few years of listening to this, there was a here, let me just say it like this. Let me read something real quick and then I'll let you respond to that. How's that sound? Nitty?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure that we're on the same page. So, as we all know, I'm not a metal fan. That just means I'm really picky with crossover stuff. I love Integrity. I love the band Wisdom in Chains, but I don't generally like my hardcore and my punk to have too much metal in it. Also, that being said, there are a couple of bands that are incredibly important to me that pull directly from Cro-Mags playback. Like it's bands that like when you listen to them, you go, oh, Cro-Mags. And so for that reason, like this is a band that I've always really appreciated. I haven't listened to this in ages, dude. Like, no pun intended. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've listened to this record. But right off the bat, I heard a lot of where bands like Righteous Jams and Iron Age get a lot of their style from. And I'd forgotten about that a little bit. Like, I forgot how directly affected those bands were by an album like this, much less, the entire discography of a band like the Cro-Mags. There's so many bands from the East Coast that are a derivative of this band. I don't even think of it until I go listen to the album. And it's not direct copies of them either. Like I mentioned, Righteous Jams out of Boston. It's more direct vocal influence than anything to me. The way he pronounces his words and influxes of his voice taking a sharp turn upwards at the end of words, I don't want to, he goes like that a lot in his vocal sentences. It's a very unique, or it is very unique to the Cro-Mags specifically, until later bands that started adopting that style. But with bands like Iron Age, it's way more of a musical offspring to the Cro-Mags than the like thrash infused hardcore riffs, more akin to like early Metallica than say Minor Threat. So you have Cro-Mags, who is the guys that are inspiring bands like Iron Age, whereas a lot of hardcore bands, they're going to cite Minor Threat as their inspiration. I don't know. There's a lot of very Metallica-esque riffs throughout this album. Still a little bit of vocal similarities, but I hear it way more with the guitar riffs and tone than anything else with bands like Iron Age. I've heard and I've actually read that early on, Iron Age shows were the closest you could get to replicating 80s Cro-Mag shows. I can tell you that I was there for a lot of those early shows in Houston and Austin, and I got goosebumps when I used to watch Iron Age play. And I'm not trying to get into an Iron Age conversation necessarily, but that's why the Cro-Mags are important to me, because that band is a band that I got to watch come up and start doing their thing. And I knew immediately, oh, this is our version of that. And that would make a record like Age of Quarrel more important to me. I saw Iron Age at this place called Walters in Washington. I think it was the first time I saw them. It's probably around March 2006 when their first album. It was a record release show. They dropped an album called Constant Struggle. It was on Young Blood Records. Might have been a tour kickoff show. I can't remember, but it was right around the time they released that LP. But the place was packed. And I remember that the intro is called Weird Dust Violator, or The Violator. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Dude, it was absolutely mayhem in that place. It was insane. And every time I read something about Cro-Mags, the way that they describe the live shows and the energy, I literally like hear Iron Age songs in my head. It's the weirdest thing, man. Like as I was listening to this, it was bittersweet, man, because Wade Allison was a friend of mine and he's no longer with us. And he was the guitar player for Iron Age. And like, it's it's insane, man. That show was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Honestly, if I did like a top 5 shows of my entire life, that would be one of them. They put on an incredible live performance. All the dudes in that band were very cool. It was interesting, dude. The guy Jason Tarpey, who sang for them, was always really nice, and he was like one of those guys that was like him and Wade, R.I.P. Dude, was like they were like the popular guys, but they were really like humble and nice. I don't know, man. I don't know why I can't separate the two. You know, my boy Ribs, who ended up being the namesake for my son. Honestly, dude, like his name's Justin. My kid's name is named after his middle name. Ended up playing bass with those guys. So listening to this record, I know I'm going on a long tangent. I'm sorry. It was insane, man. Like I was driving when I started listening to it. I had to pull over, man, because like I need Cro-Mags to exist and I need this album to have come out.
Yeah, man.
In order to get Iron Age, which was so important to me. And I don't know. It was like almost like I hate to say it like this, but like a spiritual like situation. Like I'm listening to it and I felt it in my bones, dude. Like I was like, there was parts where I dang near cried, and it wasn't because I was like necessarily hearing a lyric that
I was just saying Cro-Mags isn't music.
No, it was more like a
nostalgia.
It took me back in time. Yeah, dude. Like I miss my friends and I miss those days to an extent. I love my life now. I wouldn't want to go back in time, honestly. I don't want to be younger. I like where I'm at right now, but I have fond memories of those shows at those venues. And it's all because of this record, dude. Like I bring it back to that. It's this album, dude. It's crazy, man, how influential this album is when you actually like go back and dig it out of your record crate and play it again. If you don't listen to this all the time, you will forget, because I hadn't thought about it in a long time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's true. Everything you said is true. Cro-Mags was a pivotal punk band. I mean, hardcore punk band. They essentially set off the entire movement of New York hardcore. That was the band that did it, you know? And Bad Brains arguably are the godfathers of American hardcore punk. Yeah. I think they heavily influenced Cro-Mags, and because there was a lot of ties between both the scenes, you know?
Yeah.
DC and what was happening in New York. But I think Minor Threat and Bad Brains were kind of the first two to set off the American hardcore punk explosion, at least on the East Coast. You know, Black Flag and stuff was happening in LA and or whatever. But my timeline might be a little wonky too. But
so this is where I've probably said things that will contradict this in the past, and if that's the case, so what? It is what it is. But I think that this might actually be the point in time where you have the birth of actual hardcore and not hardcore punk, because I think there is a difference there. And the more I learn about this music, the more I realize that I'm a hardcore punk fan and not necessarily a hardcore fan. Like I like hardcore bands. There's a lot of them that I like. I could list about 20 of them right now. But as a whole genre, I think I like hardcore punk more. You know, and for reasons like I'm fixing to explain, like where this album and other albums kind of like this lose me. The longer, more like mid-tempo songs, like Malfunction.
There's a lot of metal on this record.
I'm not into that stuff, man. That song Malfunction is the one where it caught my attention, and I was like, "Ooh, talk about this," because like, you know, the entire song's not bad. The vocal style really complements the faster songs, in my opinion. So like, I thought that the vocals were kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a better vocalist was on top of that song, I'd probably really enjoy it. But it does, but it's just not what was available. It's not what was there. It's not what happened. The riffs are heavy. They make me want to bang my head, but the vocals take me right out of that song. And then that's what a lot of like modern day hardcore bands do. And that's what I don't like about it. I like speed with my music. This is why I like thrash metal and not like other kinds. You know what I'm saying?
This album has a lot of feel, you know, it's got a lot of slower parts and kind of groove, but they also take a lot of elements of like oi at times. And they have some street punk kind of aspects to their music too. The Cro-Mags are interesting because they draw influences from like UK 77 stuff, just regular straight up hardcore punk and metal.
Well,
Motorhead, and even like thrash. Like
a lot. There's a lot of
you know,
Motorhead in this. A lot, like
yeah.
on the
I
riffage
mean,
side of things, like on the riffs and stuff. Oh, dude, tons of it.
but like their guitars, like I mean, it sounds like Iron Maiden at parts, or like
Yes.
you
Well,
know,
there's like this. That's kind of like where you get the crossover from. Is it's like
right? It's like
this.
crossover.
There's like a little bit of that gallopy, like fantastical metal sound within thrash metal. And so you're gonna get that naturally in a band like this. Like the very next song after Malfunction, I think it's the song Street Justice. Dude, it's really good. There's even like double bass in that song, which kind of caught me off guard. You know what I'm saying? So like you get these faster songs and you can hear a little bit of. Can you imagine what it's like being a young punk kid in 1985, 84, 86, and you're not really into the Sex Pistols, but you kind of like punk. Maybe you like the Ramones because they're real fast, but you really like metal. And you're like, yeah, but you also don't want to have like the goofy like dragons and crap, right? But you got something to say at the same time. And so like bands like Bad Brains are coming out, Minor Threat's coming out. It was how Agnostic Front, I think, too. So
Agnostic Front was around the same time.
Yeah, so you have all these bands coming out there like, oh, they're adding this little bit of like their hair's getting a little longer. Denim vests are coming in to play. I'm being silly, but like, that kind of look is starting to infiltrate punk, which is creating a new kind, which became hardcore.
Yeah. And, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm not an expert on the CBGB scene, but there was a first wave, which was like the Ramones and Television and all those bands, Blondie and all that stuff that happened in, CBGBs in the late 70s. Once all that shit died out in like 1980, the New York hard punk scene was kind of at a lull for a minute,
Yeah.
So that's when the faster kind of what you would know is like hardcore punk bands started to kind of come in and take shape in like the smaller clubs. And then eventually the CBGB Sunday matinee show started happening. And that's where you'd get all the bands like Cro-Mags, Agnostic Front, Murphy's Law, fucking Sheer Terror, doing these like gnarly shows. And that scene was really violent.
Well, yes.
And also you can tell like from the lyrics, like these are kids on the street, this is like menacing hardcore punk music. Like this is music that fools that are out there doing dirt,
right.
Are listening to. And it's not, in contrast to 7 Seconds, like the really positive kind of youth crew, straight edge, like optimistic.
Well, I was gonna say
type of
that.
Music.
Sorry for cutting you off like that, but
okay.
What I was gonna say is there's a certain meanness with this stuff, with like Sheer Terror, Agnostic Front, Cro-Mags, that you didn't necessarily hear with like Minor Threat and Bad Brains. They were all about a positive change, whereas you get the stuff on the East Coast where they were all about survival, and those are different, ways of thinking. That's a different obstacles. That's different lifestyle. It's different. So you may have a similar idea on what you want your music to sound like, but when you actually put it into practice and play the songs, they're gonna sound different. There's gonna be a different edge to this. Not that those other songs were weak by any stretch of the imagination. Those were amazing songs. They're powerful in their own right, but these songs mean something a little different. I wouldn't say it's better or worse. It's more like they just pivoted over and they run parallel. This is what this means. This is what this means. There's not a competition on which one's better. They're just different. But I think all those bands, you take Minor Threat, Bad Brains, Sheer Terror, Agnostic Front, Cro-Mags, you give all those bands a few years and you end up with something like the Satisfaction is the Death of Desire. You end up with like an early Hatebreed album, or like Lowest of the Low Terror, or and then you go even further down the line and you end up with bands like Haywire. Like you really do, man. Like look, that band live, I bet you that's what those kids were feeling. What I felt the last couple of weeks watching Haywire play live, look, man, I like the songs on their records quite a bit, but their live show, completely different monster. Like I was like, oh wow, I haven't seen something like this in 20 years. I'm not saying it hasn't existed. I'm just saying like I haven't seen it. So like I thought it was awesome. And I feel like, man, we still have these bands that are influenced by this amalgamation of sounds brought to us from like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different pillars of the very rapidly changing punk rock scene that turned into hardcore. It's interesting, man. The first time I heard "Don't Tread on Me" and there's a Gank vocal part, I got goosebumps, and it brought me to like a live music setting. I thought, man, I would love to have seen this live. I would give anything to be able to travel back in time and watch an early or mid '80s Cro-Mags show in New York. I bet it was scary. If I'm honest, I bet it was scary. If you were Can you imagine me like some suburban kid that doesn't really know what you're getting into, and then you show up at that show, and you're just like, I'm good. I'm gonna go back and listen to whatever power pop album I was listening to before I got here.
Yeah. I mean, again, I never actually gave this album a fair shake until now. I listened to their later stuff. Yeah, the one that came out, I think maybe after this, Best Wishes. I mean, so there's a lot of like drama between the band members and beef and shit. In fact, I think, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but Harley Flanagan actually got shanked at a Cro-Mags show. Like he went to go see or showed up at because the band split up, and there's the Cro-Mags and Cro-Mags.
Yeah, I knew they had some drama
issue with the name, and then
that was common back then with stuff like that.
I like Harley Flanagan's version of the Cro-Mags better than John Joseph's. If I'm being honest, I'm more of a Harley guy, you know.
Well, the only album I ever listened to from them was this one, which is funny because you had the opposite experience.
You probably wouldn't like if you don't like the more crossover thrash stuff. Then that's where they go later.
Well, right? Okay, if I'm honest,
the direction they headed.
When I first heard this, I didn't really care for it. If I'm really honest about it, I didn't like this until my friends were playing bands like this with the Iron Age, and then I was like, oh, I had to like revisit it and go, oh, now I understand their band more, and it made me like Cro-Mags more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like not being into a band and then seeing them live and it changes your mind. It was similar to that. It was like I didn't really care. I didn't like dislike them. I had the album. I liked it okay. But I didn't like love it. And then I heard my friends' bands play, and I remember I barely knew the guys in Iron Age at the time, right? And my friends telling me like, "Hey, dude, like Tarpey, he's got a new band," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "They're playing. Want to go see him?" I'm like, "Yeah." I remember seeing them play and be like, "Oh, wow, this is different, man." I was like,
"You're not big into those types of riffs, like the metallic riffing. You're more of a rock.
It's not even that, man. I don't like the lyrical content. I don't like the clothing. It's all the other stuff. The riffs are fine. It's like all the stuff that goes along with it. I don't care for
the lyrical content. Just like kind of
yeah, because I'm very much into a punk rock lyrical content. I like stuff that's got a message, not so much a fantasy story. You know what I'm saying? Like and some of that stuff has got very political stuff too. I'm not saying it doesn't. I like what I like, and the reasons I don't like metal is very probably stupid, honestly.
What I'm saying is on the Age of Quarrel, they're just talking about street shit, pretty much.
Yeah. On Age of Quarrel, my reason I didn't like it back then is I just didn't. Yeah, I guess it was probably the metal riffs. I guess I've always kind of liked early '80s thrash metal, and this is very much pulls from that, directly, right? I don't know. I think back then I just didn't want to hear metal in my music. I wanted to hear punk and hard. Like even when I was listening to hardcore, I was always like, why are they playing so much metal? Which is why I don't even understand why I like Integrity and Wisdom and Chains so much. Because like the moment I heard those bands, I was like, I like this. Whatever this is, I like this.
But that's kind of what like thrash metal pulled from. They pulled from all like the UK 82 shit anyway.
Yeah, but what are you talking about?
Discharge, all the crust bands and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Integrity and Wisdom and Chains.
I know, but what I'm saying is like you can kind of draw the line from thrash metal back to that stuff in some way, right? Like even with Cro-Mags on this record, I can hear a lot of UK crusty stuff too.
Sure, but my point was that I don't even know why I liked those bands because I liked early thrash, but whenever I first started hearing those bands, I was only listening to like punk and like the most metallic music I got into was maybe Terror, which isn't really metallic. At least their early stuff wasn't. I guess I liked Hatebreed. I think what it is that I like a little bit of everything, but I'm incredibly picky with what I like. So, like, do I like metal? Like, as a whole? Not really. But are there metal bands I like? Yes, there's metal bands that I really like. There's metal albums that I cherish. But, like, I wouldn't call myself a metalhead. The only genre that I really like most of, I think, is punk. And that's probably, but I don't know. This album is incredible, and I'm glad that we decided to. I don't even remember who picked it. One of us did, but I don't remember.
It was me.
Was it you?
Yeah.
I'm glad that we listened to it because I hadn't heard it in a while, and it actually made me go back and listen to Iron Age again, and it made me do some research, which the only reason I even brought up Iron Age wasn't even because I was reviewing this, is because I was reading up on this, and somebody in some magazine or article or something said the closest you could ever get to an 80s Cro-Mags experience was at an early Iron Age show, and I thought, holy crap, I was actually there. I remember that. And that's what made me think about it. That's probably why I wrote so much about it, because I was thinking about that because of that. But
what are some standout tracks for you on this record?
Oh, let me go back and look at my list of stuff. Hold on one second. I know I liked, let's see, Don't Tread on Me was awesome. Let's see, Face the Facts, I think I liked quite a bit. Hold on, let me pull them up again. I would say more songs than not, I enjoyed quite a bit.
Cool.
Yeah, like the album as a whole, I think I ranked pretty high. Street Justice is probably my favorite one. Hard Times.
That's a good one. I like Hard Times.
Yeah, Street Justice, Hard Times, Don't Tread on Me, Face the Facts, and Doing to Others. There's a good chunk of songs towards the end that are really, really strong.
Yeah.
But I'd say, like, overall, the album is really good. And I like that it's 15 songs, 34 minutes. That's pretty nice. I'd say if I had to give it like a 1 through 10 rating, 8.5 or so. Like, good. It's very good.
Okay.
Very, very good. Very good. For an album that I wouldn't normally listen to, like most people that know me wouldn't think I would even like this. So I think that's a pretty...
Is this something that you'd spin on your own at a later time if you don't have to listen to it, or no?
Yes, but I would probably skip 1 or 2 songs, so it might be a playlist album more so than an LP album.
You'd skip Malfunction. Got it.
Probably.
It's all good.
Although if I had it on like vinyl, I don't know that I would fret. I might just throw it on and play it all the way through.
Yeah,
because I didn't like actively dislike the song, but if it was easy to not listen to it, I probably wouldn't.
The production's pretty bad on this album, though. I got to be honest.
Oh, you thought so? I liked it.
There's this kick drum. There's this really like, it varies from song to song, but there's this like tapping on the kick drum for the first like 2 songs. I think it's on World Peace and maybe the We Gotta Know too, but it's just super annoying, and I don't know. I couldn't get over it.
It's all about perspective, man. You play drums, you're gonna hear stuff I definitely won't hear.
Yeah, it was like this little like click, click, click sound, and I don't know. I mean, what am I gonna expect from this band? You know what I mean? Like they were like just a little fucking scruffy hardcore band from New York that put together a record in '86. It's like you're not gonna get a.
I had a good time listening to it, and it put me in a good mood, and it reminded me of my friends. I thought that was cool, dude. Anybody that wants to relive early Cro-Mags and doesn't know who Iron Age is, just go listen to Constant Struggle, man. Go listen to that album. It sounds like a Cro-Mags album, slightly different vocals, but other than that, it sounds. I mean, even the production sounds very similar. The guitar tone, man, what a good time. I like being this age because I get to understand things a little bit better. I've had more time to learn more and just kind of like simmer with these albums. And then there's also a lot of stuff that we listen to that I never really cared about until now. And I'm giving myself the chance to go back and rediscover stuff. And I think that's healthy. And even when I read that book, the Rebel Girl book by Kathleen Hanna, bro, I couldn't tell you how long it's been since I sat down and listened to a Bikini Kill album, but I went and listened to some. And I've always liked La Tigre too. So like, growing and sitting down with old music is important. Like, but growing with albums that you maybe didn't care about, you need to give things a second chance.
I completely agree with that.
And I didn't used to feel like that. I didn't used to behave like that at all. So yeah,
Cro-Mags,
dude. Age of Quarrel. What do you get? How about you on your favorite songs and like a grade for this one? I can't believe you never really messed with this album until now.
It was just one of those records. I didn't, for whatever reason, it was on my radar, but it was on the periphery. I didn't really give it a fair shake. But today I sat down. I took a walk and I listened to the whole thing, and it was great. World Peace is a good song. Show You No Mercy, Street Justice, Survival of the Streets, I liked a lot. It's the Limit is a good one. Hard Times is a banger. By Myself. Pretty much the whole entire second half of the record. I like all of it. I really,
Do you ever listen to bands like Righteous Jams?
No. I don't listen to.
You're too East Coast, bro. West Coast, bro. You're so California.
I don't listen to a lot of thrash and stuff like that. You know,
Righteous Jams is like a hardcore band.
I know. I don't. I mean, I have phases that I go through with music a lot, right? So
for sure.
I'll like really get into like New York or East Coast hardcore for like a short amount of time, then I'll get sick of it, and then I'll just kind of be like,
everybody does that.
And then I'll listen to like a ton of reggae for like a month or 2 months, and I'll be like, all right, that's enough of that. Then listen to almost exclusively hip hop for like a fucking month, and I'll be like, okay, that's cool. And then I'll go back to listening to my East Bay punk stuff, and I'll be like, okay, that's cool. I just like scratch these itches whenever. But I there's certain bands that I should know about, but like they're not on my radar. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm sleeping. Maybe I should know about them.
You should go check out Righteous Jams. I'd love to hear.
I'll put them on my list.
Specifically, Rage of Discipline. Like, just listen to that. That's the one that like I never really put the 2 and 2 together. Like until recently when I listened to this album again, and I was like, oh yeah, that's why I recognize the Righteous Jams vocals. They sound like Cro-Mags vocals. Like it was funny, man. Like, just I'm older now and things made more sense than they used to.
Righteous Jams?
Dude, okay. I didn't even used to think about this stuff. Back in the day, you could have told me like, oh man, these guys are a derivative of this band, and then they have some of this influence, and I'd have been like, sure. Yeah, dude, I don't care. I'm gonna go mosh and go drink a beer, and that's it. And I wouldn't have cared at all, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I spent so much time throwing up foam in the parking lot of these clubs because I'll be moshing on a full stomach of beer.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. That's funny.
Puking foam, my man. Good times, dude. All right, now let's move on.
Look, I know there's a lot more to talk about. About Cro-Mags as a band, like their history is crazy.
We weren't talking about that though.
I know.
This was strictly a conversation about that album.
This is a very short. This is for the comment section.
They're not going to even hear this. This isn't even going to be in there. It's going to be cut off by now.
Damn it!
It is what it is, man. You had your chance, Nitty.
I missed my chance, dude. The Cro-Mags are interesting, fucking band.
I might do a video on their history or something because I can just learn about it because I don't know a lot about it, and they're a good band.
Yeah. Dude, the Stimulators is another band I want to check out. I didn't realize that Harley Flanagan's aunt was in that band.
Well, if you stimulate your prostate, I heard that was a lot of fun.
Dude, I got my prostate checked once because I thought there was something going on.
But it wasn't at a doctor, was it?
I mean, this account if it's in the back alley.
Yeah, he went up your back alley.
I don't have health insurance. Is this on the video?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Bet.
All right,
let's talk about this album.
Oh, dude, we're gonna. That's for sure.
Let's talk about New Wind.
I'm about to make some people pretty irritated, I think.
I liked it.
Well, hold on. We'll get into that part, too.
I enjoyed it.
All right. I'm sure you did. This sounded like an album you would enjoy. Let's see.
It's pretty and cute.
Pretty dumb.
Nah, that's not dumb. Come on.
It's pretty dumb.
You didn't like it?
Hold on.
Yeah, I know he's gonna. I want to record it and shit all over it. Wait.
No. I'm trying to find it. There we go. I was looking for the. Oh, this was an '86 album too, huh?
Yeah, man. I think we have to pick them on the years, you know.
Interesting. Okay.
The same year or whatever.
All right. Okay, so in 1986 on BYO, we get 7 Seconds, New Wind. I believe it's their third album, I think. We have United We Stand and then The Crew. Is that accurate?
I think so. And then this one, yeah.
Okay, so
New Wind.
Yeah, dude. So okay, I'm just gonna let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna read my notes and I'm gonna murder your dog. I'm gonna read my notes and then I'll just like let you riff for a minute. So I wrote 7 Seconds, New Wind. The opener on this album is absolutely terrible. Sounds like some REM type Friends theme song garbage. And then I put, was very relieved when the title track started up and it wasn't what I expected from this. Not exactly the same, but a mix of old and modern versions of 7 Seconds. So like the second song. Track 3 was back to this college rock bullcrap. Horrible. What's going on here? Tied Up in Rhythm was the best of the college rock pop songs so far, but I still very much prefer the other version of this band. Grown Apart, it's got a pretty good rad guitar riff. Man Enough to Care has a great message and lyrics, but and the delivery is too like cheerful. There's something about that song that I couldn't figure out, but it was bothering me. It just wasn't hitting, dude. Calendar's a pretty good song. There's some melodies in the album that I liked, but overall it just wasn't working, dude. It was just, okay. There is stuff about this album that I liked a lot. The lyrics were really great. I actually kind of liked the production on it as well. But it's like the album, it pulled me in two directions, dude. Like I probably won't ever go back to this album, like ever, man. Expect a Change, while not a song I really liked a lot, it showed me that the vocal pitch on most of this album is way too high. The way Kevin's singing on that song is much lower, and it fits the music of this album a lot better. So if you go back and you listen to Expect a Change, if he had sang the album like he sang that song, I think that I personally would have probably liked it a lot. But his pitch was way too high on this record. It sounded like he was trying something that he wanted to try, but he was forcing it. And instead of just like trying it, maybe having some people around him that told him, hey, this isn't really sounding that good. And then he didn't have to like repeat some of the earlier stuff that they did. He could still have changed the band and it could have grown musically without it doing this. It sounded like REM, dude. It was on parts. It was, the bad parts were so glaringly bad to me that it took me out of the headspace of listening to a band that I really enjoy. So I'd never heard this album until now.
Well, I thought this album was great. I really enjoyed it. I thought I liked the tuneful quality of the music. It's poppy. It's positive. The production's cool. It's got cool guitar parts. I like the way that Kevin sings on a lot of the songs. I don't think it sounds anything like REM. I think it's just,
dude, yes, it does.
I just think it's different than maybe what a lot of people expected. In fact, Kevin Seconds talks about like in the mid 80s during this era of 7 Seconds kind of, you know, he was really unsure about like if they even should continue to be a band or not, because the direction they were going on in a lot of the bands in the hardcore, you know, scene that they were playing with, you know, you can kind of see this being at odds with a lot of what was happening, you know. And I'm almost positive 7 Seconds and Cro-Mags shared the stage more than a few times in this era. So I don't know. I what I hear on this album is, I don't know, pop punk, you know, Descendants. I hear a lot of Descendants on this record. You know, I wasn't getting that,
but I'm not saying you're wrong. I
hear a lot of I don't want to grow. I don't want to grow up. It's, you know, I hear just, you know, it's really reminiscent of what was happening in DC in like the mid 80s. Dak Nasty. So a lot of these riffs I think are coming out of that scene, and I think that 7 Seconds particularly, I hear echoes of what would come to be early Epitaph and Fat Record stuff. You know, this is like the California, LA sound. A lot of those bands were heavily influenced by 7 Seconds. Pennywise, for instance. So Pennywise, I hear glimpses of early Pennywise in this record.
So I'm not going to even argue with that. I don't care, because just because there's glimpses of something that I would come to like later doesn't mean that this is good. You can have, you know, ingredients to something that you really enjoy to eat, but if you just take the ingredients apart and eat the ingredients separately, you don't like it. And that's the same way with this.
But it's an opinion too, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, no. It's definitely, I'm not saying you're wrong either. I actually kind of am. It's a pretty bad record, but like, I'm also just messing around. Like, yeah, to me, but I'm right. You know this, Nitty. Come on, man. But I do think I'm probably pretty glad that it does exist, because whether I like it or not, I don't really care. It's irrelevant. Like, I don't have to like it. It doesn't matter what I think, really. And, you know, I think I think sometimes with me, this is probably an example of what we were talking about earlier. I need to listen to it more. I only listened to it like 1.5 times. The first couple of songs, specifically the first song, I do not like it. Like, I actively dislike it. And it was hard for me to even want to keep listening. I almost just didn't listen to it and said, the first song was so bad, I didn't even finish it. And I was like, that is incredibly lazy. So I just didn't do that. But I was walking to the grocery store listening to it. And I'm telling you, dude, like 3 or 4 times I had to stop and like put my head on the cart. And I was like, dude, what am I listening to right now? I was like, this is crazy that this is a band that, you know, has put out some of the records that they've put out that I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, hey, dude, look, man, Kevin Seconds is a rad dude.
Yeah,
and it had to take a mountain of courage to put out an album like this. So I revert back to the fact that if I like it or not, it doesn't matter. I do respect the fact that he made it. I'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit of crap, but I wouldn't have put this out. Not being the same. This is another instance of like Blink-182 doing their thing, and then like this is like Boxcar Racer to like.
Well, I feel like among certain people, this album is very highly regarded, though, right? I mean, so
That's
I read
cool.
on punknews.org that Ian MacKaye reissued this record this year. Look, I mean,
that's not the kind of thing that I go, oh, Ian MacKaye likes it. No,
I'm not saying any of this to make. I don't care about you liking it or not, or trying to.
Yes, you do, Nitty.
No, I really don't give a fuck.
No, you told me. You told me.
I'm telling you because there's a reason why people like this shit, right? I mean, myself included.
I disagree with that. Like the whole
there's not a reason.
If everybody likes it, that must mean it's good.
That's not what I'm saying.
Ridiculous.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
That's basically what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that it's good because of certain reasons. I'm not saying like because everybody likes it, there's a reason it's good, right? I'm saying that,
but you're basically saying, well, a lot of people like it, so that must say something, and that's what you literally said.
No, I'm saying that certain people that like 7 Seconds a lot regard this as an important album that came out by this band.
Yeah, but the album exists and they have fans, so like, of course, some people think it's a great record. Like that's wild. No, there isn't an album out there that is unanimously hated by everybody. It doesn't exist that I can think of. Like
Angels and Airwaves, probably a pretty terrible band.
I mean, we say that, but then they have tons of fans. You know what I'm saying?
I'd be surprised, but yeah.
No, they have. I mean, dude, I sell records, man. I'm telling you, Angels and Airwaves sells records.
People buy that shit.
Yes,
that's rough.
When they had that new record that came out, I was like, let me listen to this, and I got about halfway through it and was like, this is worse than that 7 Seconds record, and I turned it off. I hadn't even heard this yet.
You really didn't like this album, huh?
I didn't like it at all. I'm gonna listen to it again though, because I do think when you said the Descendants thing, dude, I was not on that wavelength at all. And then you said
you don't hear Descendants in this?
Well, no, but not yet. Now I might. That's what I'm saying though. It's like now I might, and if I do, that'll make me like it better because I like the Descendants. Most of the problem I had with it was his vocals, man. I really dislike his vocals on this record. The lyrics are fantastic. They always write pretty good riffs. And he also has a kind of a unique voice anyways.
I like his voice.
I do
it's
too.
Really cool.
But I like it with the older stuff and the more modern stuff. This is a weird, like,
he's really sing-songy on this one.
Yeah, and this wasn't my jam. But again, I'm just speaking on right now. Tomorrow that I could wake up and be like, never mind, I really like this. And if people don't understand that, then I don't know what to say to you, man. People change their minds sometimes. Like, but right now, I just didn't like it. And it's because of the first track, dude. I really hate it. My favorite thing on an album is always the opener and the closer. Like, I like a powerful opener and a powerful closer because it'll get me into an album. But a really bad opener can really affect me.
The song New Wind, right?
That's the title track. And I like that song. That song was number 2.
What's the first? Oh, yeah, okay. The Night Away.
So, and the thing is that there were a ton of fantastic lyrics, man. I need to make sure that that's a point that I make here. Like, the lyrics on this were really great. I've never had an issue with the lyrics. Mm-hmm. It was just the vocals. But like, it's just a conversation. Like, if this was on at your house and we were sitting around having coffee talking, am I going to get up and complain about that? No. But in the context of, hey, let's listen to this and talk about it, I don't know that I'll ever choose to listen to this again outside of I'm going to try again in the next few days and then see how I feel about it at that point. But if I still feel the same, I probably won't revisit it. This isn't an album that I would ever buy. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like disrespect. I mean, I don't understand why I can't have an opinion without it being disrespectful. But people seem to think that just because you have an opinion, I'm not saying Kevin Seconds sucks. I'm saying this. No,
you don't like it. This isn't your jam. This isn't the 7 Seconds you like.
Well, okay.
If you don't like this record, you're really gonna hit the one that came out after this.
Then I won't listen to it. It's fine. I don't need to.
Well, just check it out. See, I mean, I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. They go even more down, like a certain path.
So when I was listening to it, though, I literally out loud chuckled at least a few times thinking, oh, dude, Nitty probably loves this album. I thought that a couple of times.
Why did you think I would love it, though?
Because, man, you like stuff that fits this vibe. Like, you like bands that fit this vibe. This felt like it had more in common with bands like Jawbreaker and Husker Du than it did anything even remotely resembling Cro-Mags. Right?
Yeah, it was very different. But I like the Cro-Mags record too, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but I know you like this more melodic, also maybe some experimental melodic pop punky emo-y college rocky hardcore mixed together kind of sounds. And I knew you would like it, but I also struggled with the fact that I really want to talk to Kevin Seconds, right? And I was like, maybe I shouldn't really say much about it because I really want to talk to that guy. And I was like, no, dude, I'm not gonna be
I
a
kind of want
poser.
you to bring up this record to him, though. It'd be cool to, like,
I would love, dude. It's the same thing with Lars. I want to hear more about Rancid 2000 than I do anything else because I love all their other albums. I want
That's
to
what
hear
I'm
about
trying
the
to
album
say.
that I don't necessarily care about.
And I'm sure that Kevin Seconds is. I'm listening to an interview with him and the guy from H2O. Toby Morse has a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, One Life, one something. I don't know, I forgot what it's called. But I listen to his podcast a lot, and he has interesting conversations with people, and they're like 2-3 hours long.
Oh yeah.
And I just started to get into the Kevin Seconds conversation too, and
I'll listen to that too. Then I would love to listen to that.
Yeah, and from what I see about Kevin, he seems like a really cool, down to earth guy, man.
Man,
I think he'd be open to talking to you about anything.
Well, we had a dialogue going, and he was supposed to come on the show like a while back.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll email him again because, like, look, dude, just because I don't like one of his albums, he's got a bunch of albums, dude. I like his solo stuff, and I like his first albums, and I like his later albums. So, like, whatever. There's even Rancid albums I don't care about. So it's not disrespect, man. It's me being honest about it and me having a subjective opinion.
Right.
And then I'm still, I'm not like just raking them over the coals, dude. I really like the lyrics and I really like a lot of the music. It's simply just the vocals on some of the songs I didn't care about. And I really wish the opener would have been different because that sets the mood for me. It
set the tone for the record.
Or the tone, yes, it's the tone for me. And like I'm a weirdo and I'm also incredibly opinionated. So like even if I actually mean this, I'm gonna say it like this. I don't know why I do that. I'm just dude, it is what it is, bro. If I mean one, I'm
dramatic. You're dramatic.
Yeah. I'm dramatic. So like, but I love Kevin Seconds, or well, I don't know him yet, but like I love 7 Seconds.
Right.
And yeah, dude, this album just it's got sounds in it that I wasn't caring about. So what? Man, I should have listened to this one again today, and I didn't because I just didn't think I could get through it. Now I regret not listening to it again.
Look, man.
It's bothering me because I wish I had some more stuff to add to the conversation that was positive because I honestly think there's probably plenty of positivity I can bring to the table.
You got to absorb it, let it breathe, let it sit, come back, absorb it again, and then just take it from there, if you want. If you still hate it later, then that's cool. It took me forever to find a couple of Husker Du songs that you actually liked. And then you finally admitted that you liked the songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Even in our first conversation, I went back and I watched that video when we were talking about New Day Rising.
Okay.
And your opinions on the band were all over the place. You said there's things I like about it, there's things I really enjoy about it, but then there's things I hate about it. But then this is really good, but then that's really bad.
So I still stand behind that, but I say like if you ask me yes or no, it's still a no because the stuff that I dislike is so like dense within their records. It's hard for me to get past it because a lot of it's stuff that they're not going to change and it's all over their albums. It's like in the DNA of their music. So it's like, how in the world could you listen to like a Global Threat record if you don't like screaming vocals? You can't. Even though you like the lyrics, you like the guitar. Yeah, and then that one part where they had like a mid-pace song was really good. But they still are like a screaming street punk band. So they have this white noise washed over all their albums and I just in the noisy, I don't like the noisy, chaotic, disorganized sound, and that's what they're really, really great at creating, or were, And I respect what they did, and I still will argue about the punk thing. They just don't sound like a punk band to me, and so but whatever, dude. Like I said a million times, my opinion does not matter, and it's just a conversation. I want to like them. I mean, if there's any band out there that I want to like that I don't right now, it's Husker Du. Because you're my friend, man. We've gotten pretty close over the last year.
Yeah. And I mean, if you don't, I think with me it's more about like with any band, I care less about you liking it or not, and more about why, like understanding why I like it,
Right.
Like that's more important to me, right? It's kind of like being able to see where I'm coming from and the reason why people like this shit, or you're just like, this is fucking complete ass and I don't get it, and that's fine too.
There's a lot of music that I just don't get. And I was told that by Andrew and I figured it out. He was right.
You don't get it, man.
I just don't get it.
Andrew, if you're watching this, you don't get it either, bro.
Andrew, if you're watching this, I'll be a little surprised.
But
Yo, that's one person that I really actually, Andrew, if you're watching this, please, sincerely, what do you think about this 7 Seconds album and why? I would love to hear your feedback on it.
I think he's gonna like it.
He might, very well might, dude. We look. Here's the thing: is that
He likes Turnstile.
oh man, I forgot about that. That's unfortunate, but whatever, dude. That new album, bro. I would rather listen to the 7 Seconds album. Dude, I keep wanting to say Kevin. I'd rather listen to this album 100 times than that one once. That album was awful. Dude, too much like just random ambient noise, like not really being a song, but it's there, like
Yeah.
Nah, bro, keep that. Keep that. Hey, man, those dudes are full of granola and sadness. They can keep it over there in their part of the world.
And money. They're also full of money now because they're making fucking tons of it.
Good for them, man. Hey, look, I'm not a hater to that degree. Good for you, man. You're making money. Go ahead.
They're getting the bag. I think they're going on some big tour right now with High Viz and fucking I can't even.
Bro, I got a bag they can hold on to.
Oh yeah. You're a Squirtle bag. Is it made out of Squirtle skin? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, dude. Oh man,
is that the one?
It'll make them glow
on. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't. This is like 7 Seconds is another band that I really want to like. I don't know too much about them. I really don't.
I've come to the conclusion that I don't know much about any bands except like 5.
I don't know fuck all about Cro-Mags. I don't know fuck all about 7 Seconds. I'm just a giant poser.
So, well, know? I don't. Yeah, I mean,
I know a lot about a few bands, and I know a little bit about a lot of bands.
That's how, dude. I'm realizing that that's what it is. I know a little bit about a bunch of bands, and then I know a lot about a few bands.
But it's cool. That's why I like watch these, podcasts and listen to stuff because I listen to a ton of interviews with bands and artists and musicians all the time.
I just had an idea, man. Let me know what you think about this.
Tell me.
What if I can figure out how to get you on the screen on my other software, and when we do these podcasts, we can do like a couple of songs on the podcast to talk about it, and I'll just cut the songs out for the YouTube version, and then the song versions, it'll just be the whole thing, and it'll go up on Patreon. Dude, think about how much more fun we could have and how much of a better conversation we could have if we could actually go, let's listen to it. Boop. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's real. At least just a couple of songs.
Yeah, no, it would not. I wouldn't even want it to be the whole album. But that way we could put on our notes, like, hey, maybe 1 or 2 songs we really like, and then one that we disliked, and we'll go over those. Mm-hmm. And if it overlaps, even better because that's less songs we have to worry about. But that way, it'll give us some content for Patreon. It'll also probably increase the quality of our YouTube version, anyways.
That's true.
I'm all about trying to increase the quality of these shows, man, because I love doing this. And I think it's so good for us as me and you, like specifically us, and our direct community. We've got like a 40-person community that's like directly our people. And I think they really like this. And I know I do. And so whatever I can do to make those people happier, I will do it.
It would be, I don't know if every once in a while, we could have another member of the group come in.
Well, I know Rob wants to do an episode with us.
I would love that.
I figured
do a little 3-way convo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think the ones that would be the most interesting for the show would be Rusty, because it would be insane. Like it would be insane. Andrew would probably be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he'd be fun.
Let's see. Honestly, Iggy, bro, I love you, dude, but I might just log out if Iggy's on here with me, because that guy, I feel like he doesn't do it on purpose, but then sometimes I think maybe he's just a mastermind at getting under my skin, and he is doing it on purpose. And it's like he's playing the long game, and I just can't figure it out.
You think I'm a troll? Fucking that guy.
I don't think he's a troll, bro. I think he's just unique. I've talked to him a lot, man, and I think that he's just a little different, and that's okay. I love it.
No, but that difference, it's like he's inadvertently a troll. He's doing it without trying to be one.
Well, that's not a troll. That's just an accident.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I love it.
No offense, Iggy.
No, I love Iggy, bro. Me and Iggy talk all the time. That's my guy. Man. No, that's my dude, bro. Like he knows it. If he watched what I just said and took offense to that, I will be flabbergasted, because that dude's my guy. We talk all the time. But I think that it would be. He'll tell you, I think Randall might kill me if we were in person talking about this. And I'm like, I don't know about all that, but I would definitely be like, what are you talking about?
That's really fun.
Like, yeah, we have a really great group of people, man. It's awesome. Anybody that's watching this, man, like, come hang out. If you want to check out my Patreon, it's cheap, dude. And there's like monthly giveaways. There's an exclusive Discord. You have input on the channel, and I'm doing more exclusive content. Not all the time, but enough. I dropped a video today. It was behind the scenes with Sully from No Guard. It's like 7 minutes of us just like hanging out talking.
I like that. Can we wrap this up? That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're 7 seconds. Break Wind. What are your top songs?
I
just said Break Wind like without even being a joke. New Wind.
I know you like New Wind. You just want to talk about fucking farting, man. I don't know what to tell you. I like the first song, The Night Away.
Yeah, you do.
I liked the title track, New Wind. I like Somebody Help Me Scream. I like the fourth song a lot. Tied Up in Rhythm is probably one of my favorite songs. Man Enough to Care, I really enjoy that one too.
So you like the whole album?
I liked. There's one or two songs I was kind of like, I don't know. I think Calendar maybe. I'm not the biggest fan of.
I don't have a single song with a like on it. Okay.
I really enjoyed most of the record. I thought it was fun to listen to.
Dude, I don't think I even agree with this, man. I think I've got to wait. Hold on. Oh no, hold on.
You don't like any of it. You just think
no. Hold on. I was on the wrong thing. There's like a deluxe edition. That might be why I didn't have. I had to like at least some of it, man. Look, dude, I'm not completely out of my mind, or maybe I am, but
you're a little wacky.
A little wacky whack.
A little wackadoodle.
Wackadoodle. Yeah, I'm almost wrapping this up. Hold on 1 second.
You're good, man.
Sometimes. The Crew. Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah. I have exactly one song that I liked. Well, I like Calendar. That was a good song. All right, dude. I gotta go and listen to more of this, and because there's gotta be some songs on here I liked. Dude, I do like. Okay, this is gonna sound stupid, but I like the cover art.
Yeah, I like it too. I would get a T-shirt of this album cover.
I don't like the album enough to be I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? But like,
you know what I'm saying? I know what you're saying.
Well, you know, name 3 songs. I'm gonna be like, I can't.
I know, dude. I'd be like, hate it. REM. Oh, yeah.
I'll be like 3 songs I don't like. Gotcha. Heard.
That's
but yeah, dude, this song. Hey, what I want is I want people that made it this far in the video to be able to tell me, like, explain to me what I'm missing here, man. Like let me know what I need to like go back and pay attention to. And when I listen to this again, I will put some notes in the comments and pin it to the top. So yeah, that's it, man. 7 seconds, New Wind. What are we gonna talk about next time, Nitty? What we got? What you got? We gotta go in the lab and think about this, man. I picked these 2. You pick the next 2. Okay, I'll pick 2 albums. Give me 1 second, sir. Actually, you know what? Instead of making people wait through this, I'll just log off and I'll text you in a minute.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Nitty's in a hurry tonight, so we don't have time to sit here and banter back and forth. He's got to go take a dump. Dude, you gonna get a Blumpkin?
Oh no, I haven't. I don't know if I'm down for that.
Dude, I don't know if I could facilitate.
It's like your fucking prostate's doing way too much, man. How are you supposed to keep an erection and fucking shit at the same time?
I don't know. It feels pretty good to take a dump.
That's crazy, bro. Like that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. That doesn't seem feasible. But you know, never say never.
I was gonna grow up when I was like 19, 20 years old. I just said nah.
Dude, the sense, we're still making dick and butt ass jokes and
balls. All right, everybody. We'll see y'all next time on the Punk Rock Podcast.
Peace.
Later.